Hi. Hello. Hi everyone. I'm back. I'm back and it's a brand new year. Whoa, that's crazy. Insert all the boilerplate standard grown-worthy jokes. I'm just taking a sip of some rooibos tea because I forgot to properly hydrate today. So I was like, you know what, I should make a tea to start with. Are you are you turning over a new leaf? Maybe, maybe we will. We'll certainly be turning over some pages because we're talking about reading today. I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome in. Nice to see you guys. Congrats on first, Lucy. Welcome in also to Ash, Bush, Deidre, I think I saw you, and Gun. Welcome in, guys. Hope you're all doing well. So yeah, we're doing our second annual reading wrap-up stream today, which is if you weren't here for last year's reading wrap-up, but you were here for the gaming wrap-up at the end of 2024. Similar thing without the tier list. Thank you. Oh my god, that's actually a year. That's actually a year. Thank you so much for the 12 months, Gun. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so here I'll go ahead and let's pull it up. I've got a PowerPoint for you guys. Ta-da! Wow, very nice, huh? Very nice. I keep forgetting that if I need to figure out a way that I can like click to have the wand light up, but not forward the slide, because it's nice to draw attention, but then it's clicking, and I'm not ready for the next slide yet. Anyway, yeah, if you saw the post on Blue Sky or the announcement in the Discord server, you knew what was coming today. We're gonna be wrapping up the reading. I'm gonna talk a little bit about StoryGraph versus Goodreads, weighing in on the huge battle between the two book trackers. And also wanted to again like go through some tips for reading more. Also, Mike, let me just mess with let me just mess with my captions really quick, because of course I should do that right now. I just noticed they're very small, and I feel okay. That hopefully that's maybe better. If anyone's ever like trying to read the captions, like doing that as their way of participating in like watching, let me know if they're readable enough, if I need to make any changes. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna be going through today. I think people enjoyed having the tips last year, so we're gonna go through those again. And also, I have some questions that anyone is welcome to answer during the course of the stream. I'm gonna go ahead and post them and pin them. Hopefully that's okay legibility wise. So at any point during the stream, feel free to let me know what your favorite book was that you read last year. Doesn't have to be anything released in 2024. Just the thing that you enjoyed most that you read in 2024. Then I'm curious what the most surprising thing about how or what you read in 2024 was. Could be a new reading habit, or a book that you didn't expect to like but did, things along those lines. I'm going to talk about mine a little later on. And then also, if you have any reading goals for 2025, maybe you want to get back into reading this year, or maybe you have like a set number of books you want to read, or maybe you're trying to read more non-fiction versus fiction, that kind of thing. Any kind of goals you want to share, that'd be very cool. And I have a slide specifically for those later on, so I'll talk about mine when we get there. But yeah, without further ado, I'm starting it off like I started off the last one, giving you my my credentials, so you know that I'm worth listening to for the tips, for the tips on reading that we get to later. And I've talked about this like a little bit as well. Like even just I think it's come up like in Spree streams a couple of times, and on a couple of my streams outside of like the reading wrap up. But way back in 2019, I had been like trying to get back into reading, but had been like struggling through college and stuff. With making time and having the attention span for reading. So you can see up here, it's nice that I have a little pointer that you can see in the presentation. That's handy at least. I read 7 books in 2019, and I think the majority of those were like in December, like during Christmas break that year. And then in 2020, I was like, oh man, I want to start reading more. So I started small. We're gonna talk about a little more detail later. But then it kind of snowballed, as you can see. Also, hi Newt, welcome in. Read 138 books in 2020, 255 in 2021, which was kind of crazy. I doubt I will ever hit that number again. And then 127 in 2022. And then it slowed down a little bit. 54 last year, 59 this year, or this past year, I guess. And that's just because there's more stuff taking up my time. I'm doing other things. I've got other things that I'm doing. It's not always easy to make enough time to read hundreds of books in a year. And that's, you know what, that's totally okay, because everyone should just read however much they're comfortable reading. So yeah, what we're gonna do is just like, oh, don't tell me. Where are the images? Hold on a second, gamers. What? Where have they all gone? What? Okay, all right. I've refreshed the page and it looks like they're back now. One of these is on the wrong slide. Okay, let's give this another go. It's gonna be pretty disastrous if it's completely gone. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're gonna go through in chronological order. I don't have a ton to say about every book. There's some specific things I want to focus on. Also, like I don't always remember things. There were a couple of books where I was going through this, adding them to the slide, where I was like, what is this? I don't have any recollection of this. And then I read the blurb and I was like, oh, I vaguely remember this. But yeah, so, and also you'll notice that things were a little bit more stacked in January through to March, and then there's a little bit less for the given months. But thank you, Gun. I appreciate it. I worked very hard on this presentation just this morning, even though I knew for a while that I was going to be doing this stream. Okay, so yes, first book of the year was Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I had read, if anyone's not familiar with R.F. Kuang, she also has written the Poppy War series, a fantasy series, and then she has like another standalone fantasy book that is called like the Tower of Babel, I think, or something along those lines. I've read the Poppy War. I loved those books. Yellowface was very different because this one is more like literary fiction. Essentially, it is the story of like a white woman like stealing the manuscript of her. She has like a rival who is an Asian woman, and her rival slash sort of friend dies, and the protagonist is like really struggling to get any books published or anything like that. So she steals the manuscript that she finds. She's present when her friend dies, and finds the manuscript like in her apartment and decides to take it, and then publish it as her own. and then it's kind of the story of that like whole thing, you know, like the process of it being published and then unraveling and everything. Oni! Almost 2 years. Gamer, I don't know if you can do math. That is 2 years. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the 24-month resub. That is insane. Thank you so much, Oni. I appreciate it. But yeah, Yellowface was it was really interesting. I really like RF Kuang's like writing style and stuff, and it was a very interesting story. And I forgot the rest of the sentence that I had thought of and was ready to say. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It was very different, but if you enjoy those kinds of things, it was really good. Tackled some important themes, and I would recommend it. Next is I Keep My Exoskeletons to Myself, which I honestly like. I picked up this book exclusively based on the title. This one's really interesting. It is it's kind of more like a slice of life novel set in a very unique like sci-fi dystopian setting, where it's not like the protagonist is gonna save everyone from the dystopia. It's like someone just coping with what life is like. Essentially the premise is that people have I can't remember which way around it is. If you have, oh yeah, okay, so like if you commit a crime or something, or do something against like the authorities or whatever, you get a shadow that follows you around, and then everyone knows that you've done something wrong, and that you don't fit in and stuff. And I don't remember specifics of like why the character who has a shadow got one, but it's kind of about like a mother and her daughter like dealing with it, and I really enjoyed it, and especially so because it was a very unique I hadn't really read like a dystopian novel before that was just kind of someone trying to survive. Like I really enjoy slice of life stuff. Sometimes I like slice of life genre stuff. I don't just like slice of life. Anyway, that was good. I would really recommend checking it out if you maybe are interested in sci-fi dystopians, but without the like hero aspect. Also, hi Mart. I don't know if I said hi. Welcome in. I hope you're doing well. Okay, and then H.P. Lovecraft, The Hound and Other Stories. I'm gonna be so honest, I don't remember much about this one. I remember not liking it. This is a manga adaptation of a couple of H.P. Lovecraft's short stories. I was interested in trying it because I like the idea of Lovecraftian horror, but don't care for Lovecraft's writing or just the fact that he was an abhorrent person. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll try experiencing it in like a different way. And unfortunately, I just didn't think it was very good. So that's kind of the gist on that one. This Is How You Lose the Time War was an interesting one. I did it as a buddy read with a friend, which was very fun. It's a really interesting format for a book. It's written by two authors, and it's written as letters between two characters. So each author takes a different character, and the plot between these two time travelers, it takes place over like between the letters, and I thought it was really interesting. I don't remember like my specific opinions on this one. This one was like very early last year. But I did enjoy it, and I would recommend it. It's a nice short read. I think it's under 200 pages. So if you're interested in like a sapphic time travel story with a unique writing style, maybe this is a good one to kick off your reading for the year with, like one that's not too much of a commitment. Okay, and then there's the gosh, I can't even remember what this series is called. It's like these four here are all part of a series by Eva Bjorg Aegis-Dotter. I don't know if I'm saying that right. This was part of a surprising trend for me this year. You may see where I got one of my questions from. I usually over the last few years as I've been back into reading, I typically don't read books in a series back to back. I get like previously I'd get like pretty tired of like reading the same thing, and so I'd want to like switch back and forth, maybe between, you know, like maybe I read one book in a series and then like a standalone book and then I read the next one in the series or something like that. That was not, I had a few series that weren't like that this year, and one in particular, which is why Gunn is posting that at Megalol. But yeah, we'll talk about that a bit more later. But these are good. I like crime novels. I don't read them as much as I used to. There's like, this series isn't like standout good or anything. It's not like, it's not beautifully written. It's like, it's pretty plain. But I liked the characters, and I hadn't really read any Icelandic crime thrillers before, but I have in the past watched a TV show called Fortitude, which was a crime show set in Iceland that I really enjoyed. So I think this kind of just reminded me of that, and I enjoyed it. Like, if you like that kind of book, like I would say it's worth like reading, but it's not it's not gonna change your life or anything like that. Okay, and then just jumping back down to this bottom left corner, Thorn Hedge by T. Kingfisher. I'm gonna be really honest, I don't remember this one at all. I don't even remember if I enjoyed this one or not. I didn't look to see what I had rated it. This one was very unmemorable. T. Kingfisher is like an author that I keep trying to like. I really want to like T. Kingfisher's work, but there's only one of their books, and the name escapes me right now, but there's What Moves the Dead, I think. I enjoyed that one, but I've tried like 3 or 4 other books by them, and they just don't click for whatever reason. And yeah, so this one was not memorable. I don't know what else to say about it. There's honestly, there's a few books like that throughout here, but yeah, that's the way it goes. Also, just to let you guys know, there's an ad break coming up in about 4 minutes. So just keep that in mind. If you don't have a sub, consider grabbing one, so you don't miss out and get some cool emotes and support the channel and whatnot, or a good time to stretch your legs or do something else. Okay, next up, these are the books these run from February to the middle of March, and you can really maybe start to see some more of that reading through a series thing that I mentioned earlier. But I started off with The Lies of the Ajungo. This is part 1 of I think a 3-part series of novellas. I need to go back and read the second and the third one. This book I really liked this book. This was really interesting. I don't want to go into too much detail about this one, because it's one of those books where, especially because it's short, like things start unraveling quite quickly, and you don't really want to know about it. But it has a very unique fantasy setting, and has just like a very interesting plot, and I would recommend it. That's the gist of it. And then you can see for most of the rest of this chunk of time, I was just reading the Slow Horses series. For anyone who's not familiar, or if you're not familiar with the books, you potentially have heard of the TV show, because there's like an Apple TV adaptation of it. But the premise is that it is these books are all set around a place called Slough House, Slough, and it's basically like it's where like spies, English spies get sent when they've like fucked up, but not enough to like die or get fired. It's like they get sent to this division to like try and force them to quit instead of being laid off. It's been a while since I've read spy thrillers. I really enjoyed spy thrillers when I was growing up. Like I was a fan of the Alex Rider series and the Cherub series. But I haven't read much of the genre in adult life. Mostly because a lot of them are just like very dry and uninteresting. Like I've tried John le Carre's stuff before and just could not get into it. But I really like this series, as you can see from the fact that I blew through them. It's really well written. It's got really good characters, and it has like a really good mix of like high intrigue, action, and then just like humor and stuff. Kevin used that wet spy drama. I do hate that. But oh, and just a reminder that ad break is starting in 30 seconds. But yeah, I really enjoyed these. So the main series is Slow Horses, Dead Lions, Real Tigers, Spook Street, London Rules, Joe Country, Slough House, Bad Actors, and then I can't remember if I fit them all on this page. I was distraught when I finished this one because the next book doesn't come out until August, and I finished these in March last year. And then the list, this song is not the right vibe. The List, The Marleybone Drop, and The Catch are all like mini novellas that just take place in between them. But yeah, I really enjoyed this series. I would highly recommend it if you enjoy spy thriller books, especially if you want something that's a little bit different in that genre. And then the only other thing in this period of time was the Bookshops and Bone Dust audiobook I listened to. I really enjoyed this. I spoke a lot about Legends and Lattes last year, and honestly, like reading this or listening to it, like right after that stream, or like close after last year's reading wrap-up stream, was pretty cool because this book actually has like a subplot about like the main character getting back into reading, which I obviously found really interesting because I have an interest in like helping other people, like encouraging other people to get back into reading and stuff, and that was kind of how that played out. If you haven't read Legends and Lattes, I would highly recommend giving it a try. Travis Baldree is a like well-established like fantasy audiobook narrator. And he narrates the books as well, and he's really good at it. So if you like audiobooks, I'd recommend listening to the audiobooks. But they're really good. They're so different from like what else is like typically what you would find in fantasy novels. They're really good. I really like the characters. I would highly recommend checking them out if you are up for some cozy fantasy stuff. Okay, and then this is when I started slowing down a little bit. So we got March to June here. There are a few in here that I don't remember super well, so we'll probably glance past those. Earth Angel is probably like the most surprising book of the year because it is absolutely not something I ever would have heard of, or would normally go for. It's a short story collection by a debut author. I was in a bookstore I had never been to before, in a city that I had never been to before, and for whatever reason, it was like prominently like sitting on one of the shelves, and it caught my eye, and I went over and looked at it, and it had like, hold on, let me grab it for a second. I'll read you the blurb really quick. An ISIS recruit, an adolescent beauty queen, and a childless millennial walk into a bar. In her electric debut, Madeline Cash synthesizes the godlessness of a digital age into a glimmering, sublime, life-affirming collage of stories. So I read that, and then I read the first paragraph of the first story. The story's called Plagues, and it was frogs, then locusts, then remote aerial drone strikes. Clearly God was punishing us. God was punishing us, but we were happy because at least we knew that God existed, which is obviously like, that really catches your attention. And as you can guess, it does deal with some pretty heavy topics. And it is like satirical. So it might not be for everyone, but I just found it so unique, and the author's like narrative voice was really interesting. It was really short. And some of it is just like so fucking strange. But it was a really unique reading experience. And was like a very interesting, it took like a very interesting approach to some things. So I would, recommend checking it out. It's like 120 pages. It's not very long. If you're interested, and that might be a good one to like, I don't know if it does the dog die, but it might be a good one to look up for like content warnings and stuff beforehand. Next up was The Carpet People by Terry Pratchett. This one was not very memorable for me. I didn't love it. This was like the first thing he ever wrote, and it was published, I think it was published after he started writing Discworld, but he wrote it when he was very young. It was fine. It wasn't very memorable. He hadn't really found his footing yet, but you could definitely see like glimmers of Discworld, like already like kind of developing in his mind. But yeah, it wasn't super memorable. It's not one that I would really recommend unless you're a really big Terry Pratchett fan and want to make sure that you read all of his stuff. Next was The Wasp Factory. Again, this is one I don't remember in huge detail, but I did like it. It is a very heavy read, and I was kind of just reading it because it had been on my like list for a few years, and I gave it a go, and yeah, it was good, but it's heavy stuff, so reader be warned. Galatea, could not tell you a thing about the plot of this one. It's a short, like a short novella by the author of Achilles and Circe, which are both supposed to be really good. I've never gotten around to reading them, though I've wanted to for a while. But I was like, oh, I'll read Galatea, and maybe that'll like get me like amped up to read Circe and Achilles. Unfortunately, I don't remember liking this one, or I remember not liking it, and it didn't really give me the motivational push that I was hoping for. But what can you do? I'm still gonna read those at some point. It didn't give me the push to do it this past year that I was hoping for. And then next up, I read Freerun, or the volume 1 of Freerun. This was the first manga. Well, no, I guess this was the second one because there was that Lovecraft one on the first slide. I had like a weird thing with manga last year, where I would read like volume 1 of a series and then just wouldn't read the next one for whatever reason. I didn't read very much manga last year, and I'm not really sure why. It was just like every time I sat down to try, it wasn't clicking in my brain. It just wasn't working for me. So, yeah. Okay, then next up is Damascus Station and Moscow X, which are part of a series. The third one is included later on. These I both read after... Oh, Song of Achilles, that's what it's called. Yeah. I mean, they're both... Like, that and Circe are both supposed to be great. And, like, I have copies of them. And have done for a couple of years. I just haven't read them yet. But yeah, Damascus Station and Moscow X, these are also spy novels. These were me, as part of me trying to chase more spy thrillers, like after reading Slow Horses and missing it. Damascus Station was good. Moscow X was slightly like less interesting, and then the third book was even slightly less interesting than that. But if you like spy thrillers, I would say that they're worth it. I doubt that there's going to be another one in the series, based on the way that the third book kind of wraps up. But if the author writes more in the future, like I would definitely would definitely give them a try again. I'm currently taking notes. I'm glad to hear it, Newt. I hope you'll find some interesting things out of it. Some good books to check out. Next was Glitch by Hugh Howey. I don't even remember if this is just a short story or a novella. Hugh Howey is the author of the Silo trilogy, which I really enjoyed. He's also written a book called Sand, which I could not get into, and a book called Beacon 23, which was pretty good. I don't remember Glitch at all, unfortunately. Not memorable, so I don't really have anything to say on that one. And then I tried to start reading Nishiju, because we've had the box set for a while. I really enjoyed Volume 1. Same with Freerun. I really enjoyed the Volume 1 of Freerun as well. But again, same thing. Like, I just didn't feel like compelled afterwards to read more of it. Maybe this year I'll read some more manga or try to. Because I really want to go back and read more of Nishiju and then also read City by the same author. But yeah. Okay, and then up next, I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. This one is kind of post-apocalypse, kind of dystopia. Hard to pin down between the two. Very unique premise. If you are at all interested in those kinds of genres, I would highly, highly, highly recommend this book. It deals with some really interesting topics that I won't go into too much detail on because it will be spoilers. But I would highly recommend this one. It's really good. It's really interesting. So check it out if it's of interest to you. Then next is The Practice, The Horizon, and the Chain by Sophia Samatar. This one's a novella that came out last year. I've been wanting to read Sophia Samatar's, she has 2 novels I don't remember the names of right now, that I've been wanting to read for a while, but I haven't gotten around to, and when this novella came out and was available through the library, I was like, well, yeah, I'll give it a try. It was good. I don't remember it in detail, and not enough to like kind of talk about it, but it was a pretty interesting read. Wasn't like one of my favorites of the year, but I would recommend checking it out if you're interested in like a shorter novella. Kind of deals with some heavy themes. So another one that might be good to look up content warnings before diving in. And then the last one for this period of time was Stations of the Tide by Michael Swanwick. This one had been on my want to read for a very long time. And I finally got a copy and read it, and honestly, it was kind of underwhelming. I was really interested in it because of the world building. It's set in like this world that, basically the premise is this like detective type guy goes to this planet that like every few generations has like an enormous flood that completely changes the face of the planet for a while. And he arrives to try and solve a crime before the flood takes place. And there were some other details about the world building that just sounded really cool. The world was pretty cool, but like the actual plot was like pretty difficult to follow, and wasn't even really all that interesting. So it ended up being a little bit of a letdown, but hey, at least I finally sated the curiosity on that one. Okay, and then June to September. So first I went through all 3 of the Aurora Rising books by Alistair Reynolds. These are it's a really interesting setting where there's like 10,000, there's like a ring of 10,000 space habitats. I can't remember the proper name for them. And like each habitat then reports is like a kind of like not like governed by, but sort of this organization called Panoply, which is they maintain like a state of like super democracy where people have the ability to vote on like pretty much any decision. Not everyone has to, but they have the ability to. And that was a pretty interesting concept. and then it's like it's detective genre fiction set in like a really cool sci-fi setting. This series is awesome. I would highly recommend it if you enjoy sci-fi and if you enjoy detective stories. It's really good, has really good characters. The plot for all three of them is really good. I really, really, really enjoyed these books. I would highly, 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 highly recommend them if you enjoy sci-fi. And then I tried to jump like straight after that to read one of his other books, Chasm City, which is set in the same like universe. But that one I couldn't really get into. But I'm gonna try more of his stuff at some point. I've read a couple of his shorter works before as well. But I want to read some more of his novels. So I will do that at some point. And then I finally read The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. Or, yeah, I actually don't know how to say that one. Chbosky, maybe? I'm not sure. I don't remember this one in too much detail, but I did enjoy reading it, and it was like a nice one to like finally, you know, because it's one like you always see it in the bookstore. So it was cool to finally read it. I enjoyed it. I don't remember too much about it. I'm sure that like everyone is familiar enough with it to not need a recommendation from a cabbage visit on the internet to decide whether or not they want to read it. But yeah, I liked it. Then I finally made some more progress on the Discworld series. I read Carpe Jugulum and The Fifth Element. The Fifth Elephant in this period of time. I like both of them. They're enjoyable. Not my favorites of the series, but like they were both good. And there's another Discworld book coming up that I will talk a little bit more about probably. Then I read The Carpet Makers by Andreas Eschbach. This is one that I'd been waiting for it to go on sale on Kindle for like a very long time, and I was very excited. It finally went on sale for like $2. So I grabbed it, and then it ended up being like kind of a letdown. It had like a really, the premise of it is basically that like it's this setting where people make, like people spend their whole lives making carpets out of human hair for like this strange reason. To Carpet Book Cabo, a strange occurrence that there were two of them. But yeah, the premise of like the carpet making ended up not being as interesting as I expected. And then once the like wider sci-fi setting starts getting revealed, the more that was revealed, the less interesting I found the book, unfortunately. This one, one of my pieces of advice for new readers or people getting back into reading that we're going to talk about more, but like you're getting a preview right now, is to like always quit a book if you're not enjoying it. This one, I definitely should have quit because it really slowed down my reading. For whatever reason though, I just felt like I had to finish it, and so I did. And I wish I hadn't, because it was not worth finishing. But there you go. Then the next one, The Business of Dying by Simon Koenig. This one, I literally had to go and like look at my Goodreads stats to make sure I'd actually read it, because I didn't even recognize the cover. I did read it, I remembered it from the blurb. I didn't care for it. It wasn't super good. I didn't find it to be like a particularly believable plot. I think, at least that's what I'm remembering. But it's like about like a detective who also like does contract killing on the side to make ends meet, and I didn't care for it. I didn't find it very compelling. And then Boys Who Hurt was just like the most recent release of that series we talked about earlier. Okay, and then next is In the Garden of Echo by H.S. Wolf. This was definitely the most unique book I read last year. It is, let me pull up the blurb real quick, because I definitely can't do it justice in its description. Okay, here we go. Echo and I have been around almost as long as the Earth itself. We're indestructible, in love, and hungry. For centuries, we've wandered across continents, just the two of us, devouring an invasive species, humans. But the mess we've made in our wake has its consequences. Forced to curb our feeding and go into hiding has put Echo and me at risk of exposure, and I die before I let anything happen to her. In the Garden of Echo is a T for T erotic horror romance novella and the first book of the Genesis trilogy. It is a crazy wild book. The horror romance is wild. The book goes in like a very unexpected direction, with like the way that the characters are. I really don't want to describe it in too much detail because it's one of those things where it's like you really need to not know about it because it's a very impactful like surprise. But I would definitely recommend it. Like, I will say it is definitely like, it's pretty heavy on like body horror and stuff. So be warned that is a pretty big part of that one. But it was a really unique read. And unfortunately, like the rest of the trilogy isn't out yet. I don't know if, hopefully the author's still working on it. Because I'd like to read more. But yeah, very unique. And I would recommend it as long as you're okay with some body horror. Okay, and then the last one for this section was Blind Sight by Peter Watts. This was another one that had been on my list for a really long time, because it's supposed to, it's a really good sci-fi novel. It's part of a series, but I think it was originally written as a standalone. The second book is not supposed to be very good, so I'm not planning on reading it. But this one was really good. I did struggle with it a bit because there's a lot of jargon in it, like a fuck ton of jargon, or techno babble, if you will. I like that word. But it was really good. It was like very high concept. I had a hard time like understanding some of it. But it's a pretty unique and very interesting like first contact story. There's also a space vampire, and some other stuff. But it was really good, and I enjoyed it. There was some dated language in it that wasn't super great, but aside from that, like it was overall a good read. And then September to November. So first up from this lot was The Invincible. Music playlist where this is just actually the Game Chops discography playlist. That link should hopefully take you to it. This particular song is Boom 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 by Pete Frogs and Game Chops. Also welcome in, Angso. Let me know if I'm saying that right. Yeah, so first up for this one was The Invincible by Stanislaw Lem. I've been wanting to try Lem's work for a very long time, and finally I was able to get one of his books through the library. And Light for 3 months. Yeah, The Invincible was partially responsible for that. It was kind of a similar situation to Carpet Makers, where I thought it was a really cool premise, and I'd been wanting to read it for a long time, and then I really didn't like it, and I slowed down. I slowed down a lot. This was another one that I definitely should have just quit reading, but didn't for whatever reason. Came in from, oh, gotcha. Well, welcome in. Glad to have you here. We're just doing a little wrap up of all the books that I read in 2024, and then we got some other reading related discussions later on. But yeah, this one was a big letdown, and in all honesty, I don't think I will ever read any more of Lem's work, because this, I think, is supposed to be his best one, and it's not that it was bad, it just very much was not for me. But what can you do? Then next was The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins, another one that I had been meaning to cross off my to-read list for a very long time. Thankfully, a much more enjoyable read. This one, I can't remember like how much detail is given in the blurb, but it's kind of like a war between gods taking place in America. I found it really good. It was very unique. The only other thing that was similar that I've read to it was American Gods, but fuck Neil Gaiman. This one came out in 2015 and has been on my radar since like 2018, 2019, I think. So like it was nice to finally read it. Highly recommend. Would recommend checking it out if you enjoy like fantasy stuff with mythology rolled into it. And then next was Cells at Work, Volume 1, which was a not inclusive of November, yeah. Cells at Work, Volume 1. This was a reread. I'd actually read the first couple of volumes like in 2022 or something, I think. I was reading it because I wanted to try reading the series again, but then I ended up not. I just read Volume 1, and then I tried to read Volume 2, and I was like, I'm not interested anymore, and put it down, like the rest of the manga series this past year. Do you do reading streams? I don't. It's something that I've wanted to do. It was actually like when I was like starting to prepare for streaming and starting streaming like 3 years ago. I thought that's what I was gonna do. The problem is that you can't read. You can only read like books that are in the public domain on stream, because otherwise it falls under the same like copyright restrictions as like watching a TV show. And there aren't very many books in the public domain that I'm interested in. But yeah, it might be something to revisit, especially with like with some of those older books. I'm planning to get. I want to try and like start working on some YouTube stuff this year, just for a fun thing to work on. And so maybe that'd be a good thing to revisit. I don't know. I'm dyslexic and attempting to read books make me cry, and listening to audiobooks make me fall asleep unless I'm really invested. That's super fair. Yeah, it's something that it's maybe something I'll try again, but it doesn't, for streams, it just doesn't, it's not really doable, unfortunately. I also don't have enough time to stream that I would want to do, reading streams as well. Like I only stream for like a couple of hours each week, so, that would take up all my gaming stream time, and it would take forever to get through a book. Okay, and the next was Leviathan Falls by James S.A. Corey. This is book 9 in the Expanse series. I finally finished the series. I did cry several times. This was fucking phenomenal. I couldn't have asked for a better ending to the series. And I'm really hoping. They're working on a new series at the moment. I don't remember the name of, but like the first 1, maybe 2 books are out. And I'll wait until they're all done probably to try them. But yeah, this is great. If you haven't read the Expanse series, huge fucking recommendation. If you enjoy sci-fi, it is a big commitment. It's 9 books. They're all like 500 to 600 pages. But they're really fucking good. There's also novellas in between them that are also worth reading. So good. Just one so far, gotcha. Also, hi Snotgates, welcome in, hi. Okay, and then next up is The Truth by Terry Pratchett. This is the first time I ever listened to an audiobook version of Discworld, and it was a great experience. Unfortunately, the book after, I tried listening to the audiobook and just couldn't deal with one specific character that the narrator voiced, so I had to give up on doing it as audiobook, and we'll just read it paper at some point. But anyway, The Truth was really good. Yeah, the Igor. The Truth was really good. It's very well narrated. Bill Nighy does the footnotes, which was something that I very much appreciated. There's also a separate narrator for Death. And while he doesn't quite sound like how Death sounds in my head, he was pretty good. But the main narrator was like fantastic. There's a particular character in here. Oh shit, I'm forgetting his name. But there's a vampire photographer. who is like maybe one of my favorite vampire characters, maybe one of my favorite characters in Discworld, because he does, it's like old timey flashbulb photography, right? So every time he takes a photo, he disintegrates. Because it's like going out in a ton of sun for him, and someone has to like put a drop of blood on him to reconstitute him. Otto van Schreek, yeah. His voice is so good. He's such a funny character. I loved him. Big fan. This was a good Discworld novel. It's about the advent of the printing press, which was a pretty interesting one. So yeah, I enjoyed it. This is book like 28 or something of Discworld, so don't start here. He's in multiple Discworld novels and minor roles. Oh hell yeah! Also, I hadn't warned you guys soon enough, but there's an ad break starting in about 40 seconds. So if you don't have a sub, consider grabbing one to get some cool emotes and support the channel. Or if not, please enjoy taking a little break. Get a snack or a drink or something, and we'll see you again after the ad break. But yeah, loved the truth. I'd like to read some more Discworld this year. Only 3 in 2024. I've still got a little ways to go. So maybe I'll aim to read some more this year. And then the Seventh Floor. This was part of the series that I mentioned earlier. The Damascus Station one. This one was like the least interesting of the 3 spy thriller books, but it was still enjoyable. I'm assuming it's the end of the series, but hopefully there'll be more. So guys, thank you so much. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. Enjoy those emotes. Enjoy missing those ads. Thank you. I appreciate it. And then I read this short story called Ushers by Joe Hill, Stephen King's son. This one was fine. It was an enjoyable short read. The premise is that there's this guy who has like narrowly avoided 2 mass casualty events, and so some police detectives turn up to like question him on how he's seemingly able to avoid death. They think that he had involvement in the 2 things. It was a pretty unique concept. I liked it. It's like 40 pages. It's less. I think it was like 30 pages. So it's a pretty short read. And it was fine. So guys, thank you for gifting a sub to Angso. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Enjoy those emotes, Angso. Also, am I saying am I saying that right, Angso? Is that how you say it? I can't remember if you said earlier. Okay, and then we're getting the next slide. We're getting to the reason that Gunn said that this looked pretty light for November. Between the 8th of November and the 16th of December, I went on the craziest binge read I have ever done. This was the most I have ever read in a space of time. My previous record was like 3,000 pages during 1 month in 2021, which is when I was reading The Stand by Stephen King. But this surpasses that even with the 8 day. I can't do the math and figure out how much this would be for. Well, that shouldn't be too hard, but I'm not going to do it. Anyway, this is the Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Matt Dinneman, which came as a recommendation several times from Gunn, and I finally decided to give it a go. And as you can see, it really grabbed on tight and held my attention. I've never read this much. I've never read a 7-book series with all the books back to back to back, with literally nothing else. I was not reading anything else. I was not listening to an audiobook. Like, this was it. This series is fantastic. It's a genre called lit RPG. At least, well, it's kind of, but lit RPG, for anyone who's not familiar, is like it's sci-fi and or fantasy where it's basically like an isekai type situation, but like the character is in like some kind of game. There was one that I tried a while ago that was like, it was like you were willingly putting yourself into an MMO. I didn't like it. I didn't stick with it, but that was kind of how that one worked. In this one, essentially what happens is some aliens show up at Earth and they're like, hey, we're about to start breaking down all the resources on your planet. There are some doors down into a dungeon. If you want to have a chance to survive, go down into the dungeon. And that's how it starts. It's really fucking good. I actually really enjoyed the lit RPG elements, despite it not being a genre that I have like been particularly interested in the past. But it's also just really fucking good sci-fi fantasy. It's got fantastic characters. It's really well written. It's like just exciting all the way through. The plot is great. Eventually you start getting to like taking down like revolutionaries taking down governments type shit in it. It expands a lot from the initial premise. It's so good, and I felt so hollow when I finished it, because the next book does not even have a release date yet. So that was a struggle. I honestly will probably reread the whole series at some point because I enjoyed it so much. If I could inject the selling point, talking cat spellcaster with superiority complex, yeah. It does have a talking cat as one of the main cast of characters. And it just has so many good characters. The characterization is really good. The characters have like really good arcs. There's one character who like comes up. I think she's like towards the end of the second book, and then she's in a lot of the third book, and I didn't like her for a long time, and then she like over the course of the series became one of my favorite characters. It's really fucking good. And I'd say that even if like lit RPG doesn't appeal to you, if you like good sci-fi and fantasy, then you should give this one a try. It's really good stuff, and I really hope that we do not have to wait too long before the next one. But yeah, this one also was like kind of a culmination of like what I was talking about earlier with like a lot more this year of like going through a series like instead of like alternating books like I usually do. And I think part of that was that this year I had much less of an idea of like what I wanted to read, if that makes sense. Like I used to like back in like 2020 and 2021, like when I was reading like hundreds of books a year, like I was also very involved in like a reading Discord server. I was on like subreddits for reading, and like I was involved a lot more in like the Goodreads community and stuff. And now I don't use Reddit, I don't use Goodreads, and I'm not in that reading Discord anymore because I found it stressful. So like I'm not getting exposed, like I'm not getting other people's opinions about books anymore, or like seeing other people excited about specific books, which means that I don't have an instance where it's like, oh, there was like a post on r/sci-fi like talking about how fucking good this book is, and it sounds like something I'd enjoy, so like I'm gonna read that next. I had a lot less of that, and so I had a harder time like picking what to read, because I have like on my Goodreads account, I think I have like 1,500 books on my want to read shelf. So it's not like I can just just like pluck one from like a list of 5 or whatever. Like it's a lot to choose from, and to whittle down. So I think that's kind of why I focused a lot more, and like my brain wanted to read series this past year, because it was like, well, if I'm just reading through the series, like I know I like these characters, I know I like the setting, I know I like what's going on, so why would I stress about trying to figure out something different to read when I can just stick with this? And yeah, so that that was an interesting difference for this year. I'm curious to see what my reading habits will be over the course of 2025. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so next up, before we get to the questions again, I wanted to go over my tips for reading more again, like we went over last year. Like I mentioned, I went from reading 7 books in 2019 to like 130 something in 2020, and then 255 in 2021. So that all like started from me wanting to read more, and then literally starting with I'm gonna read a couple of pages a night. So that's here our first one. I accidentally clicked, so we'll do that. That's our first one. Start small. It literally was just a case of, okay, I want to read more. I know that like consistency is going to help me with that. So, before bed, I'm going to read like 1 to 2 pages. And then, cause you have to build up a stamina. Especially if you, if you struggle with like maintaining attention on things. It is like you have to build up a stamina with reading. So yeah, it was, I started with like, I'll just read a page or two, and then it was like, okay, well, I'll read, now a page or two isn't enough. Like, I want to read a chapter a night, and then it became like, okay, I don't have to say I'm gonna sit down and like read a chapter before bed. Like, I just want to pick up the book when I have time to read, and it kind of snowballed, and like obviously. It doesn't have to snowball into reading like hundreds of books a year. It's not really realistic. Truth be told, but I think that starting small is the way to do it, and try don't put too much pressure on yourself. Like if you're just trying to get back into reading, don't set yourself a number of books that you want to try and read in 2025, but instead set like a smaller goal. Like I want to make sure that I read 1 chapter of a book like every week. And if you enjoy reading and stuff, and you enjoy the book that you pick, then eventually you'll just kind of naturally like start feeling like, okay, well shit, this worked out well initially, but now this isn't enough for me. I need to read more. I'll just take some more water. And then next one, read whatever you want. Don't worry about what anyone else thinks is good. Don't worry about like what anyone else thinks is like worth reading. Don't even worry about it being an actual book that you can get from a bookstore. Like if you want to read a web novel, if you want to read a web comic, like all of that stuff is great. It's really important, like as you're starting to get back into reading, that you read stuff that like that you actually really want to read, so that you'll be like motivated to get through it. And I know that maybe that sounds like a point that doesn't need to be said, but I feel like it would be easy to like fall into a trap of like, okay, I want to get back into reading, like let me just look up like I don't know, like a list of 10 books that you should read before you die, because like maybe you don't have a good idea of what you want to read, and so you go looking for something like that, and then maybe you try stuff that doesn't really fit like what you're actually interested in, and that's not going to help. Not going to help with getting back into reading if you're trying to read stuff that you actually don't like. An optional one is tracking your progress. We're going to talk about Goodreads and StoryGraph in a second. But one thing that really helped when I was getting back into it is like I really liked the I really liked tracking when I was reading, a couple of pages, like going onto a website and like updating my progress, and like after I've put in the page number, see the progress bar like go up a little bit, like provided a nice sense of like satisfaction, and helped provide like another source of motivation for keeping going with reading, with getting back into reading and stuff. So it might not work for everyone. Like it, maybe it's like I don't know, maybe you just don't enjoy like keeping track of progress of stuff like that, or maybe that turns into a source of stress where it's like, oh well, I read 3 pages yesterday, but I've only read 1 page today. Like if that's going to be like something that detracts from it, like I don't worry about it. But for me, that worked really well, and really helped, and like added another like another activity to it to help keep it interesting and stuff. And I would say like the biggest one, especially as you are like, as the snowball is starting to become bigger with you getting back into reading, is just always have something to read with you. I have the Kindle app downloaded on my phone. I often read on my, as long as I'm reading something and I've updated on my phone to like where I last read on my Kindle, usually I will make sure like at the start of the day, like before I leave for work or like before I like leave the house for whatever, like I make sure that my phone is caught up to the right place, so that if I'm like, if I'm waiting at the pharmacy for a prescription to be filled or something, like I have my book accessible if I want to read it. Or getting an e-reader is like a good way of like, you can just have a little device in your backpack that that is available to you and has however many books on it, so or just carry a paperback with you. Like if you if you're carrying a backpack around anywhere and you've got room for it, just throw a book in there, and just read, because like if you I found like with an e-reader, it like it made me feel better about like reading a short thing. Like if I could only sit down for 5 minutes for whatever reason in my brain, like it was easier to like pick up an e-reader and just like read a couple of pages than it would be with a regular book. I don't know why, there's not really a reason for that, but once I got an e-reader, then that became a lot easier, and then it's also much easier for carrying a bunch of books around with you and stuff. And yeah, I would recommend just having it with you. If you've got like 10 minutes waiting for someone like to meet up with you or something, like you can just read a couple of pages or whatever, and it just helps like build the habit and stuff. And also like if you already read but like have a hard time making the time for it, then just those like short little chunks, they make a big difference. And one thing I forgot to include on here is use your local library. Even with small libraries, like you might be surprised by like how much stuff they have available, especially like sci-fi and fantasy. Like usually small libraries have like more than you might expect them to. Also, if you're comfortable reading on your phone, or if you already have a Kindle, there's an app called Libby, where you can, most libraries in the US participate in it, I think. At least most of the one, like I've moved several times and like I've never not had access to it. And that way, those you can send directly to a Kindle device. There's also an app called Hoopla. Hoopla you can't send to a Kindle. I don't know if you can send, I think some e-readers, like any of the e-readers that have access to like the Google Play Store, you can just get the Hoopla app on. Or if you have a tablet, you can have the Hoopla app on there, and that has books and stuff on it as well that you can just borrow. And so then that's a nice like cost-effective way to like get back into reading, and you also don't have to worry about like actually physically going to the library if it's out of the way for you, or if it's like difficult for you to get transportation or whatever. Like then you have that access and can read without having to spend any money on whatever device you have. So I would definitely recommend checking those out and using those resources. Hi Ace, Happy New Year, welcome in. Speaking back, appointment 2 is January 10th, and I've DNF'd 2 books. Hell yeah, Gun. Love to hear it. I actually did, yeah, like I mentioned, I didn't really DNF much in 2024, including books that I definitely should have DNF'd. So I guess one of my goals for 2025 should be to actually DNF the books that I don't like, and not stick with them. But yeah, so those are my tips for reading, for either like getting back into reading or how to make reading more easier if you struggle to like find the time or whatever. I really enjoy reading, and I think it's, I mean, it's good for you as well. Like it helps build those brain muscles. And there's a huge fucking variety of stuff out there. There's stuff for everyone to enjoy. And so if it's something that you're interested in, there's these good strategies to help make it easier to get back into. So yeah. Okay, wanted to weigh in on the Goodreads versus StoryGraph thing, because I've decided, you may have seen my Blue Sky post about it. I have only been using Goodreads, and I decided for 2025 that I'm switching completely to StoryGraph. For anyone who's not familiar with these websites at all, Goodreads has been around for a very long time, and StoryGraph is relatively recent. These are both websites for like keeping track of what you've read and maybe finding recommendations for new books. Goodreads is not as heavily focused on recommendations as StoryGraph is. You can also, like, write reviews and leave star ratings, and there's community aspects. Goodreads has a lot more community aspects. But yeah, Goodreads. The reason that a lot of people don't like Goodreads and have wanted to move away from it is because it was purchased by Amazon a few years ago. I don't remember exactly when, and also they make no changes to the website. The website looks the same as it did a very long time ago. They are very slow to fix things. There's a lot of stuff that is very outdated, and really the big one is just that it's tied to Amazon. And then StoryGraph, I can't remember when StoryGraph started. It's been around for a couple of years. They're still kind of like getting their footing and stuff. There's still some stuff that you would expect that's in development, but yeah, I decided to switch over. You can, if you're already a Goodreads user but decide you want to switch, but you're like, oh, well, shit, like I have like 100 books on here that I've added. For me, it's like 3,000. Which is a lot to move over, but there's a way to import your data from Goodreads into StoryGraph. It takes a while at the moment. I've been waiting, I think, like 12 days for mine to get imported, and it hasn't been yet, but it's just because they're dealing with like a huge volume of users like joining the site at the moment. I love reading graphic novels. Oh yeah, Mouse is fucking fantastic. That's obviously like, that's a tough read, but like Mouse is really fucking good. Yeah, definitely agree with that. So I've been using StoryGraph now for a couple of weeks, and I do like it. I'll give you a little bit of an overview of the difference. Goodreads has obviously been around for a while and has like a lot of community features, so it's like a little bit more community focused, I would say. Like when you post a progress update on Goodreads, you can write stuff about it that then gets posted out to anyone that you're friends on Goodreads with. Whereas StoryGraph, you can add a note to a progress update, but that's only for you to see. Which was a difference that I was surprised by. There's also like Goodreads has like, you can create like groups, and there's like forums and stuff for those. I don't think StoryGraph has that. And honestly, like, it's not something I really care about anymore, but like I used to be involved in like a Goodreads group where people would like set buddy reads and stuff. That was pretty fun, but I don't think StoryGraph has that. I could be wrong. But in general, like I like StoryGraph a lot more. One thing that I really like is StoryGraph's made it a lot easier to like report errors with books, which is something that I care way too much about. I was a librarian on Goodreads, which basically was like a type of account that would give you permissions to like edit book data, because I would come across errors pretty often and I really wanted to fix them, and the way to report them on Goodreads was to go to a group for librarians and then find the specific forum related to your issue and then post about it. And it was awful. It was a really awful system, because it was really, it was like really time consuming just to go to the right place. B, it was like a pain to figure out which section you were supposed to post in. And then C, like it was really, if a lot of other people posted around the same time as you, it'd be really easy for your post to get buried and then just forgotten. And then also, once I was a librarian, like when I wanted to help out with stuff that community members were having issues with, like it was unpleasant to then have to go back to the group and to like find a thread, and like maybe there's already a librarian working on it and they never posted to say that they've like finished it or whatever. And so it was just really frustrating. Whereas StoryGraph has a ticketing system built in, and on the page for the book, there's just a little drop-down menu, and you can report a book error and give a brief description, and then librarians can like take tickets and like actually assign them to themselves so that people know that they're doing it, and then you get an email when it's been fixed. You don't have to worry about missing a notification for a stupid forum in a group. It's not something that it's not something that a lot of people would care about, but it's something that I definitely cared about, and I went through and did my application to become a librarian on StoryGraph because I want to be able to like help make the book data correct on StoryGraph now that I've moved over. So that was something that I was really excited about. StoryGraph does have buddy reads, read-alongs, and book clubs. Unsure. Oh, okay. I noticed you could set buddy reads, but I wasn't sure like how. I guess I'll have to test that and see how it actually works. I did really miss like not being able to post out like a progress update on a book, because I did used to do that a lot, and I enjoyed it, like, you know, just sharing an opinion on a book as I'm reading along. But I don't like I said, I don't really participate in the community aspect very much anymore, so it doesn't really matter to me. So I can live with that. Hi Nikki! No books for me, but so much fan fiction this year. Hell yeah. Read that fan fiction. All reading is reading, as I would say I'd like to say, but that's the first time I've said that this stream, so I can't really say that. But thank you so much for the resub, and I hope you read lots of really good fan fiction this year. But yeah, so that's kind of the difference between Goodreads and StoryGraph. The other nice thing is that like it's StoryGraph seems that you can they're working on it a lot more actively. It is a tiny team. There's only 3 people who are actually like there's like a founder, a co-founder, and then 1 employee, so it's a small team. But it feels like there's probably going to be like more change and more features and stuff than Goodreads, which gets like 1 new feature every 5 years. Yeah, you can do that, Gun, you're right, but when you add a note to those, that's just for like you to look back on. It doesn't get posted out on like the feed or whatever it's called, which is probably not something that most people will care about. It was something that I noticed that I was just like, it kind of sucks. But it's not a huge deal. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. A couple of other differences. Because I mentioned that like Goodreads has more of the community stuff. StoryGraph has a lot more on like stats for you to look at. And also is much more heavily focused on like providing you with recommendations for other books to read. Which isn't something that I super care about. The stat stuff is cool. I don't have enough, like I said, my import from Goodreads hasn't finished yet, so like there's not a ton in there for it to give me stats based on, so I haven't really been able to see like how interesting that stuff is. One thing I do really like is that it does let you, for audiobooks, it lets you track hours instead of by pages. The way it works on Goodreads is that an audiobook is assigned a page count based on the number of hours the audiobook is. So a 13-hour audiobook shows up as 13 pages, which is useless to your page count information, and then doesn't really like, then you have to go back and look at like all the audiobooks you listened to find out how much you listened to, if that makes sense. Whereas on StoryGraph, you can set it by hours, and then that separates out the stat for that. Another thing that's nice is like both of these websites have like reading goal or reading challenge features for like a year. Goodreads, I haven't looked at the 2025 one, but as of last year, you could only like set a number of books that you wanted to read in a year. StoryGraph has the option for you to set a book count goal, a page count goal, and an audiobook hours listened goal. And I think you can have like one of each. Like you don't have to pick and choose. So like say that, you know, or maybe you don't care about like how many books you read in the year because maybe you read longer books. So you want to like have a page count goal instead, or maybe you only listen to audiobooks and you want to make sure that you listen to, I don't know, like 30 hours of audiobooks. And so I think it's just like, it's nice that it has that option and stuff. So I would say like, if you're already on Goodreads and you're thinking about getting off, give StoryGraph a try, especially with the import feature. Like you're not going to lose anything, and you may like it more. And if you're just starting tracking stuff, if you're more interested in like the stats and the tracking, then StoryGraph is definitely the right choice. And then you're also not in an Amazon ecosystem product, which is always nice. So yeah, that's kind of an overview. I'll probably, you know, I'll see. I've decided that I'm going to use it for this year. So, and like, I don't think not to say that I'm going to go back to using Goodreads next year because I like StoryGraph enough already. But stay tuned for the 3rd annual reading wrap up next year when I can give I've used StoryGraph for a whole year, here's my review type thing. Okay, and then we have one slide left going over the questions for today. But I need to run to the restroom real quick and also refill my water so that I can remain hydrated. So I'm just going to do a quick BRB before we start that last slide, and I'll come back, and then Ace, I will also answer your question when I get back from that as well. So there was already going to be an ad break, so I'll go ahead and start the ad break, and then I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. Bye. Okay, hi, I'm back. Okay, yeah, so here's our last slide. I'm gonna answer Ace's question about favorite graphic novel, and then I'm gonna go through my answers for these questions. If you guys wanna answer any of these, feel free to go ahead and start like posting very funny Snotgates. He says as actually laughing. What can I say? I love a bad joke. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, feel free to go ahead and start answering these questions if you would like to, and I'll share my answers in a sec. Ace, I honestly, I think I would say that probably Mouse is my favorite graphic novel. I don't read a ton of graphic novels. I I got into manga before I got into graphic novels, really, and I much prefer how manga are typically drawn than like how graphic novels are drawn. I struggle a lot more with like the art styles in graphic novels. I've read Mouse. I've read Watchmen, which was fine. I've read most of the Lock and Key series, which I didn't care for. I've read Saga through Volume 9, which I did really like. I haven't read it since the like break that it took. I don't know how much of it is out now. I did really enjoy what I read of Saga. And like I've read a couple of other things that I can't think of off the top of my head, but yeah, like I would definitely say Mouse because it's so well drawn, and it's such an interesting way of telling a very difficult story. Um, but yeah, in general, like graphic novels are not usually my jam, but who knows, that could change. I didn't read very much manga in 2020 2024, so maybe manga's out, maybe graphic novels will be in. We'll have to see. And then all right, I'll go through and answer these, provide my own answers for these questions. Favorite book in 2024. It would be hard to. I've never really liked lit RPGs, boy. That's fair. To be fair though, I've read a lot more graphic novels than I've ever tried lit RPGs. So I think I'm probably a little safer with with that opinion not changing. Favorite book, hard to pin down one, so I will just pick the whole Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I don't know how I could not, because that was such a uniquely like a unique experience for me, like getting so wrapped up in one series and reading so much in a short period of time. Like it was I wasn't gaming. I you know, like all of my like relaxation time was just spent reading the series because I was like so into it. So that would definitely be my choice. And then like I've been kind of mentioning throughout, the thing that surprised me the most was just how my reading habits changed in regards to series. There were like four series in there where like I mostly just read them back to back. The Icelandic crime one, the Slow Horses, the Alistair Reynolds Panoply series, and then Dungeon Crawler Carl, obviously. Like I said, like that's not the way that I read things. Like the only other time that I've done a series back to back to back was when I got into Murderbot, way back when. But aside from that, like even with series that I really liked, like I typically take a break between the books. So it was just very different for me to have like multiple series this year where I was just reading them through and not reading anything else. And probably like the specific book that surprised me the most was Earth Angel, that satirical short fiction short story collection that I mentioned earlier that deals with some heavy stuff. Like that was a very like it's not the kind of thing that I would typically like pick up and choose to read. And B, it was so, that was also a very unique read. And I really enjoyed it. It was very memorable. So that was surprising too. Last Shilling for Dungeon Crawler Carl. Audiobooks are by an indie group, but published on Audible and are really well done. Highly recommend them. Good to know. I haven't tried. I'll have to. Maybe I can give the audiobooks a shot for a reread. I'd be curious to try them. And then for me, for my reading goal for 2025 is like my actual goal set on StoryGraph is 52 books. There's a thing called there's like a community on Reddit called 52 Book, which is like just a community based around the challenge of reading one book a week. I don't aim to finish a book every week, but like I like, it's just a nice number to pick because, you know, I had those like a couple of years where I was reading over 100. There's one year where I read 250 books in a year, and I don't think I'll ever, well, maybe I will, but like I'm not anticipating anytime soon like reading that much in a single year again. So I don't want to set like lofty goals like that, but I know that 52 books a year is like pretty realistic for me and is about where I'm like happy being. Like I for me like wouldn't want to read less than that in a year. But you know, if you want to set a book like a number of book goal for a year, then you know, you want to make sure you set it to be something that like you can achieve, so you're not disappointed at the end of the year if you can't meet it, because that's not a good feeling. But aside from that, I think my goals are probably just to I don't know. I don't really have any specific ones. I just want to keep like picking books that I enjoy reading. So I guess maybe like based on there being a couple of books in 2024 that I really regretted sticking with and like definitely slowed me down on my like motivation to read. It seems like maybe a good goal for me for 2024 would be to remind myself that I should just quit a book if I'm not enjoying it. If nothing else, you got to hear the goddammit donut in the cat voice. That's a good point. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue gave my mind a really nice scratch. Love stories that deal with immortality well. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that one. I haven't read it, but that'd probably be an interesting one for me to try. I can't remember if you were here, Snotgates, when I was talking about In the Garden of Echo by H.S. Wolfe. It's the first book in a trilogy, and that one deals with immortal beings as well, and I really enjoyed that one. So maybe this is the year that I finally try The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. It might be an interesting one for this year to try. Me and offline chat if Kawa goes back to 255 years. Ugh, I bet Kawa's off reading again instead of stream. I think it's pretty, because I think it's unlikely, because like to be reading that much as well, like I would also need to have more time to read like during the day. I think it's unlikely, but you never know. But yeah, if anyone else has any answers to these that they would like to share, please feel free. I guess that now is also a good time for me to mention or like bring up a little conversation point from earlier, when Engso was asking about like reading streams and I was talking about YouTube stuff. And I can't remember if I mentioned this in the 2024 video or stream, I mean, but I do want to try doing some YouTube stuff this year. Mostly just because like I only have like limited opportunities where I have like a chunk of time that I can dedicate to a stream. And also, as I've mentioned before, there are some games that I like the idea of streaming but don't work very well for streams, like narrative games. I miss out on the chat interaction when I'm just narrating a game. So I figured stuff like that would be good for like doing little YouTube videos maybe. So it's something that I want to try this year. Who knows, maybe I'll try doing like little recordings of public domain books. But yeah, you probably expect what I'm planning on doing is, because I need to set up a new YouTube channel, so that I can also use it for multi-streaming, because I want to try multi-streaming. I need to set up a new one. So what I'm probably going to do is like go ahead and like try and get a couple of books ready. Not books, a couple of videos ready, and then like let you guys know when the new channel is available, for anyone who's interested. And that'll probably be like either towards the end of this month or next month. We'll see. I think it'd just be like another fun thing for me to work on when I'm not able to do like a stream, but want to do some like creative content. And I think it would also be good for me to like help train my voice up as well, and like work on some other stuff like that as well. So keep an eye out. It's just DCC for me as well on favorite books. I don't think much surprised me other than my willingness to fully reread DCC before the most recent book came out. No real goals for 2025. I'm living that post-measurement life. Super fair. Yeah, I mean, you know, the goals can be a good thing, or they can be a bad thing. It just kind of depends on the way your brain works. I know that I can, like, it will not be difficult for me to hit 52 books, and so for me it's just like I just set that because I like seeing the progress bar tick up. But I also like wouldn't be too upset if like I ended up like only reading 49 books or whatever. Like I don't take it too seriously. I'm not just trying to like I'm not setting it because I'm like, okay, I have to read 52 books. It's more just like I'm setting it because I know I'm probably going to do it anyway, and I like the little progress. Habitually, I found reading outside when I can help me, being able to have random ambient noise away from people. That's super, yeah, that's super fair. Like, reading outside when the weather's nice is really nice. I also, like, I really enjoy reading in coffee shops. And yeah, because like having some of that ambient noise is really nice. Coffee shops or like indoor places can be trickier if you have a hard time concentrating. Like I'm still trying to build up the skill of like being able to read when people are having conversations around me. Sometimes it can be really difficult for my brain to focus on what I'm trying to read. But yeah, it is really nice having that ambient noise. I also find that like, you know, if I'm just reading at home or something and like I'm having a hard time focusing or whatever, like I'll just put on some lo-fi. Just something for like just something so that, because I have a hard time, like I don't like existing in silence. Like to go to bed at night, I have like white noise, and stuff like that. So if I'm trying to read in like a really quiet room, like if I'm just by myself, or if Spree is just like working on some art on her iPad or something, and we're not, neither of us are like, you know, having any music or anything like that, or there's no other noise, I just don't like that. So it's good for me to like listen to some music or something. Other voices tend to trip me up a little. Yeah, it's it's something that I've tried to get more comfortable with, and like I'm improving a little, but I improve very slowly. And so often what I'll find is that like maybe I'll read like a page or two with no issue, and then all of a sudden I realize that the paragraph that I just read I have no recollection of because I started listening instead of reading, and then I have to go back. And yeah, sometimes it's just a struggle. But you know, still working on it. See how it goes. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers like what I wanted to talk about on the stream. I'm pretty out of practice with talking this long, so I can feel my throat is a little upset at me for using my voice so much. But that's, you know what, voice, like, you're just gonna have to deal with it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off, oh, no, turned off the wrong thing. Turned off the background instead of the window capture. All right, there we go. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the second annual reading wrap up. Just as a reminder, like if you guys are interested, there is a reading channel in the Discord server. I ended up not using it a ton last year. But because I was like, if I was posting stuff on Goodreads already, like I didn't necessarily want to post the server as well. But since StoryGraph doesn't have as much community stuff, maybe I'll start like posting like some little thoughts on books that I read in the server again. And anyone else is welcome to as well. You know, if you're in the Discord server and you read something that you particularly like that you want to share, like feel free to like drop in there and tell us. Or even if you just found like a cool book in a used bookstore that has like a really awesome cover, like feel free to drop it in there. That's what it's there for. Let's see. Where am I gonna take you guys? I think we'll we'll raid Lynn today. Clam Lynn, if you're not familiar. Lynn is a really awesome artist. She's made a couple of delightful emotes. And I really enjoy Lynn's streams. It looks like she's maybe working on like a comic today, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, thanks for hanging out for the reading wrap up. I hope that I hope maybe some of you got some good options to check out this coming year for your reading, and if anyone's trying to get back into reading or reading more, I wish you the best of luck. I should see you guys sometime next week for a gaming stream. Thanks for stream, Cabo. I'm so glad I finally wore you down on DCC. It was a delight hearing you go through them. Yeah, I'm so glad I finally gave it a chance, because I really fucking love those books. So I appreciate it, Gun. For the raid message today, shit, I don't know. I guess if you have my emotes, just drop small and just say like we are here to. Oh fuck, we're going. Just do whatever you want. I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, maybe we'll see. And thanks for being here. Bye.